Hey guys, it's Hannah and I'm here today with a spoiler-free review for you. So in this spoiler-free review, we are going to be talking about Truthwitch by Susan Dennard. I did rate this a 4 out of 5 stars. If you guys want to know beforehand what I rate books before I make videos like this, go ahead and follow me on Goodreads. I will leave a link down below. So let's get into Truthwitch. Truthwitch is it's the Witchland series. I'm not sure how many books there is going to be, but there's 2 out right now. There is Truthwitch and then there is Windwitch back there. It's a little blurred out, but you'll see in a second. So Truthwitch is about 2 girls, Safi and Isolde. Safi is our Truthwitch, which is the namesake of our book, and she has a rare and covetable power, which is Truthwitch. She can tell when people are lying. So in a land of kings and queens, this is very covetable, and people either want to control her or to kill her for her powers. So her and her family have kept her power a secret, and they've tried to keep her safe and out of the limelight enough that people won't find out about it. But later in the series, it does become apparent that she is a Truthwitch, and which starts the race of being able to control Safi. We also have Isolde, who is a thread witch, and thread witches, they can see what is tying the person together, so they can see like their lifelines, or you can see what connects them to the other characters in the book, which is very interesting, but it's kind of hard to explain. So if you read it, you know what I'm talking about. And then Safi and Isolde are thread sisters, which means that they share a very magical bond and they're always going to be there for each other. And what I really love about this book is this book focuses a lot on friendships, and that is something that is sorely lacking in YA, and I'm so glad that we do get this in this book and that it is a main focus. So let's get on in with the world building. So the world building in this is very strong, and if you aren't a avid fantasy reader, that it's going to be a little bit hard to keep up because there is so much. And Susan Dennard doesn't give you info dumps, which it's good and bad things with info dumps. Info dumps, you get all the information right away. Bad part of info dumps is it's very dry and it's hard to slog through. But I will say that this book did start slow for me, and it took me a while to get into the world and want me to keep going because it's kind of confusing. So what I recommend and what I had to do is I had to like keep notes of all of the different the different witches and what each person was. I really hope that they will come out with a guide. It's not yet in Windwitch. We do have in Windwitch right now a map, which is really cool, and it helps me follow along a lot. So I'll show you guys that one, and it really, really adds to the world building and understanding the story. So we do have that, but we don't have a guide yet. I'm really hoping that they plan on coming out with something that outlines what witch does and like what all the powers are and stuff, because in this world there is there's 5 different, I think, main types of witches, and then there's a bunch of subset witches that it branches off. So it does get quite confusing. So the 5 main ones that I could think of were the Earth, Air, Fire, Aether, and Void witches, and then all of those have different branches. So like Air has Wind Witch, and it's got certain different powers along with it, so it can get confusing at times. But trust me, stick through it because it is so worth it once you get a handle on all of the different powers that people have. This is also where it lost the 0.5 stars for me, so that's why I only give it 4.5 stars, is because it did start slow and there wasn't like a good way to explain all of the different powers. She like gives you a little snippet of a power, and then she builds this plot line, and then she gives you another snippet like explanation of the power, and then builds a plot line, which is good in some opinions, but it like pulled me out of the story a little too much, so that's why I docked it the 0.5 stars. Next up, I want to talk about the characters, which is such a huge strong point for me in this story. I love all of the friendships. I love all of the relationships that we see between Safi and Isolde, them being thread sisters, and then we also have Merrick and Cullen, and they are thread brothers, and I love that we see this so much heart in these characters and how much they really connect with each other, and it really comes alive and you really feel for these characters. So also in this book there is 4 different perspectives. There's Safi, Isolde, Adowin, and Merrick. These are the 4 like main characters in this book. So What I really love about this is that you get to see the relationships, but when they separate, you really see them grow and you really understand the relationships, which was such a big point for me, because when you first start reading, you see them interacting with each other and you can tell that they're really close-knit together, but you don't quite understand why and you don't see the connection. But once they split off and you see two, like, the dual perspectives between Safi and Isolde, you really see how the other one complements each other and how well balanced they are. And I think she wrote this really well, that you understand them on their own, but you understand their friendships better when they're separated. And then when they come back together at the end of this story, you really see how amazing their friendships are and how strong it is. And you, by that point, you are so drawn in with their relationships that it's like ride or die. Like, you love them at this point. Another big point on this in the characters bracket is the villains. So what I really love about this is that they're not real, like, obvious villains. You don't know, like, you sense, like, evil and snippets of it, but you also see, like, good parts of it too. So you never know if they're going to be true villains or if they're going to be, like, anti-heroes or anti-villains. And I so love when authors do this with their characters, because it makes it less predictable for you and makes you want to read more. So I really enjoyed this, and she did this very well with her villain-like characters, and I'm really excited because when you start off you think you know, like, who the villain is, and then by the time that the story progresses, it, like, has turned several different ways of what you're not expecting. So I really love how this story is progressing and how well this story changes and evolves as you're reading it. This one really reminds me of Throne of Glass, which is by Sarah J. Maas. She really does this well. You start off the book one way and it ends up being something totally different, but you love them all, like, almost like separate books because of how different they are, but it's overall amazing. So I really think that this story has a really good possibility of becoming an amazing series. This book was already really good. At the end of this book, I, like, had goosebumps when I was reading, and I am not like I don't show my emotions very well when I'm reading my books. I don't cry. Like, very rarely do I laugh out loud, and I was laughing out loud with the witty humor in this. I had goosebumps at the end with how powerful the end was, and I'm so ready for this to be like another series that I absolutely adore. I'm really excited to read Wind Witch. I highly recommend you pick it up. The dialogue is so good. If you guys ever read Truthwitch by Susan Dennard, let me know down below what your thoughts were, who your favorite characters were. If you've already read Wind Witch, what do you think of it? No spoilers down below because I haven't read it yet. But I'm really excited to continue on with this series. And who is your favorite character? That's what I really want to know, because I love Celaena Sardothien in Throne of Glass series, and Celaena and Safi remind me a lot about each other, but Isolde has to be my favorite character, I think, out of everything, which I was not expecting. So let me know down below, and I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye.